Okay, our title today is Two-Step. Make that a little larger for you. Two-step equations. And this is our second one. I'll abbreviate equations. So it's two-step equations number 2. All right, so it's 2 steps. So our first step, first thing we're going to do is eliminate. That means to get rid of. Eliminate constant. Eliminate the constant. That's our first step. And remember, to do that, that's either by adding or subtracting. So by adding or subtracting. Okay, what about the other? The second step. The second step is just like it. We're going to eliminate, but this time we're going to eliminate the coefficient. Remember, it's double F. I-C-I-E-N-T, coefficient. And we're going to do that by multiply or divide. All right, so the first thing we need to do is get rid of the constant. The next step is to get rid of the coefficient. And if you remember, when dealing with constants, when you're adding or subtracting, positive and a negative equals 0. So think of taste. I'm just going to put a picture of a tongue. Think of taste. And when we're multiplying or dividing, remember the rules for that? It's, well, I'll just make it real quick. If it's a positive times a negative, it's negative. If it is a negative times a negative, it's positive. Yeah, it's weird. 2 negatives cancel. 1 negative is negative, 2 negatives cancel. And so those were the rules of dealing with integers, and that is how you'll have to get rid of the constant and coefficient. We're going to do a total of 8 problems, 8 two-step problems. I'm going to try and do 4 going down the left and 4 down the right. I'm going to try and put on 1 piece of paper. You can too if you'd like, or you can put on 2. It's all right. Okay, so our first example, our first problem. So remember, you have a left and a right side. We want to get rid of the constant, so we need to do the opposite. I'll subtract 12. So you can see that this will become 0. Right, that's gone. And you're just left, I'll bring down the 2x. Bring down the equals. On this side, think of on your tongue, the taste. Too cool and 2 cool. 2 cool and 12 cool. Mint. That would be all minty flavor. Now you might be able to look at it and tell the answer, and that's fine if you can. But if you don't, we want to do the opposite. We want to divide. So that's going to leave us with just the letter X. And then we have 2 goes into 14, 7 with 1 negative. By the way, if you want to check it, you take -7, plug it in here. 2 times -7 is -14. Plus 12 makes -2. It does work. Just going to kind of separate mine. Okay, you have a left and right side. What you do to one side, you do to the other. I need to get rid of the +9. I will subtract 9. And so this becomes 0. And you are left, I'll bring this down. Bring down my equals. And 15 minus 9 is 6. Okay, now I need to get rid of this 5, so I'll multiply by 5. This is divide, so I'll multiply, same number, but I have to do it to both sides. And you can see that these will reduce to just 1, and you're left with 1x. 6 times 5 is 30. And if you put 30 in there, 30 divided by 5 is 6. 6 plus 9 is 15. It does work. Just separate a little bit. Number 3. Okay, this one looks slightly different. Okay, we need to get rid of the constant. So on this side here, to get the letter by itself, get rid of the constant. This is the coefficient. This -2 is the constant. So I will add 2 to both sides. And that leaves me with, over here, it leaves me with -4x. And on the right side, 14 and 2 is 16. And you can see that these two will cancel. They'll make 0. Now I need to get rid of the coefficient. So I'll divide. It's already times. So I'll divide it. Same number. Do it to both sides. And you'll see that these cancel. They'll make 1. And so you're just left with just x, 1x. 4 goes into 16 4 times. And there's 1 negative. So it's negative. Okay, number 4. So you have a left and a right side. There's the constant. To get rid of it, do the opposite. But you need to do both sides. So 14 and minus 4, that's 0. And what you have left is just x over 2. On the right side, 14 and 6 negatives, that's 14 minus 6. Okay, now I want to get rid of the 2. That's divided by 2. So I will multiply by 2. But you need to do it to both sides. And I multiply by 2 so that this reduces down to 1. And now you're just left with 1x. And on the right side, 8 times 2. And there's your answer. Okay, so now I'm just going to go up to the top of the page, or where I left off, and I'm just going to go down. So this is number 5. Okay, you have a left and right side. I first want to get rid of the constant. The constant is this number, 5. That's the constant. So I'll subtract it. I'll do the opposite. And you can see that this will be 0. And all you're left with is, on this side is 3x. And on this side, 23 minus 5. Now you may be able to look at it, know what the answer is, but just in case, you can tell right now, right, that 3 times something is 18. You could probably just write the answer x equals, but in case you cannot see that, then you would go ahead, just divide by 3. That's gone. You're left with x equals 6. But sometimes if it's real easy, then you can go ahead and just write down the answer. Sometimes you can skip the second step. Okay, so you have a left and right side. And the constant is 4. So get rid of that first. That's positive 4, so I'll subtract 4. And you see how that makes 0. And you're just left with x over 3. Now again, think of the taste on your tongue. 2 negatives, 2 mints, and 4 mints. 2 mints and 4 mints would make 6 mints. That's how much the flavor would be. They don't cancel each other. The flavors do not cancel. So only in multiplying do 2 negatives, multiplying, dividing do 2 negatives cancel. Not here. All right, next I want to get rid of divide by 3, so I will multiply by 3. Both sides. And you can see that this reduces to 1x. 6 times 3 is 18. There's 1 negative. So there's your answer. Okay, number 7. Okay, our first step is to get rid of the constant. That's the -1, so I'll add 1. Both sides. Let's see, this becomes 0. And you're just left with 5x. On the right side, we have -11 plus 1. So if you were to put that on your tongue, 11 negatives and 11 mints and 1 something spicy, they're still minty. It's still cool. It's cool by 10. There's 10 more mints than there are the spicy. Now to here, it's multiply, so I'll divide by the same number. That becomes 1. It's 1x. See how I'm keeping the equals lined up? 5 goes into 10 twice. There's 1 negative, so it's negative. And if you were to put -2 in there, 5 times -2 is -10. -10 and -1 makes -11. It works. Our last one. So our first step is to get rid of the constant, -8. So I'll add 8. Oops, different color. And this is gone. That makes 0. And you are left with just this, x over -4. Oh wait, we have more negatives. More negatives. How much more negatives do we have? On the tongue? 7. Right? There's more cool, more minty than there is anything spicy. More cool than there is hot. Now to get rid of divide by -4, I'll multiply. Do it to both sides. This reduces to 1, and you're just left with x. Seven times 4. 2 negatives cancel when multiplying. And that's our answer. And if you were to take 28 and put there, 28 divided by -4 is -7. -7 and -8 makes -15. It works. So hopefully we were able to put that on one page. If not, that's okay.